So much, Demetrius.
Thank you.
And how's the session? Everybody's been doing good all day. It's been a really, hopefully, a healthy day of learning. And I'm so excited to wrap up our day with an awesome, fabulous woman over here. So Mahisha, we're going to get into a lot, as Demetrius mentioned. I want to get the dimensions of not just Mahisha, the business owner, but the woman, the mom. And it's great to see your daughter is in the
My oldest there just turned 30, Kiana. Yeah.
And I actually have a daughter in the back too. She just turned 8.
Oh.
You know, the kids are out of school this week. We got to do what we got to do. Okay, but let's jump in. But Mahisha, I'm going to ask this question for the audience just so you can get a sense of who's here. I guess entrepreneurs in the room, raise hand. Woo. Okay. Corporate, in betweens, both. Okay, so we got a nice blend of folks here. And then question for those that are entrepreneurs or aspiring, is it service? Who's the service based? Okay, and then we got product.
Raise your hand for product.
Okay, a few products as well. Okay, so that gives us a sense of what we're working with. All right. All right, but let's just start with who is Mahisha today?
Today?
Today.
Okay, today.
Today.
Today, Mahisha is, well, I'm a mother of 4. My oldest is here. I'm a wife. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a giver. I'm a daughter. I'm a sister. I'm a cousin. I'm a sister friend. I'm a lot of things. I am sweet. I can be salty. I can be everything. But what I am is authentic. I do love to pour back, and I'm connected and invested in everyone that's in this audience, people of color that are looking to change their destiny and legacy and their financial landscape. And that's where my passion is.
And you live here?
I live in Dallas. I'm from California, but I live in Dallas.
Awesome. All right. Callie in the house? I heard a whoop, whoop, whoop. Okay. Okay. Got one whoop. So I asked specifically today because how have you evolved over your career?
You know, that's a good question because I don't know. As I look back on my life, I kind of seen the same remnants of the person I am today throughout my life. From a young girl who was in first grade, getting herself up and out and dressed for school, walked to school, come home, and was responsible enough in first grade to do her homework first, her chores second, then go play. That was self-discipline in first
Bella, you hear
grade.
that? Bella?
Um,
Okay.
without the supervision of an adult. So the discipline has been a part of me. And then being a young mother to her, that required a level of discipline and intentionality. So I think I've just sharpened some skills, but I think there's been remnants of all of who I am today in me.
Gotcha. That makes sense. And because you were in corporate
Yes.
prior,
Right.
you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yes, I don't know how many have heard the story, but yeah, my corporate experience in Intel Corporation started out really great. Like I thought I was going to be an Intel employee, was going to retire there and go and live this fabulous life with all my Intel stock. And until I met this racist manager, Lyle McCarthy, I believe in naming the devil as I see him. So Lyle McCarthy was his name. He targeted me. I was a single mother with my daughter Kiana at the time. I didn't have anyone to fall back on for resources. And despite being an exceptional performer in my job, he put me on a corrective action plan. And that was Intel's way of documenting your exit. And I knew at any moment he could get rid of me at any moment. And I had the stress of knowing that if that happened, what would I do with money? So I remember praying and going, God, you have to move this man, because as I was trying to exit out by interviewing, every time someone would call, he would bash my name every single time. So I couldn't interview out. But then when I prayed, I said, God, you have to move this man because he is blocking me. And maybe 3 months later, he wind up announcing to the team that he was going to get a promotion and he was moving to Intel in Malaysia. So he moved out the way. I got a different manager, and that manager was nice. He was awesome. But it was like a 6 month stretch of stress that I didn't want that anymore. And so, although I was doing well in this space, I decided in that moment my thought process changed, that I'm going to now have to take care of myself and really be an entrepreneur, because I never want someone else to own my financial legacy, destiny, how far I can go, to cut that in any way, shape, form, or fashion. That was a full circle moment though with Mr. McCarthy, because he went away. came back before I wound up leaving, and I found him, I saw him in the Intel cafe, and there was a pillar like one of those in the back, and he was in eye plain view of me, but he got up to sit behind one so we wouldn't have to look at each other. And I remember because he knew what he did. He just gave me a slower than. Well, I wound up getting my review from the current manager that rated me faster than exceptional player, got me a raise and stock options, which I knew was validation. So I sent him a note and said, thank God that, not everyone has the same views as you, but look at what my review said and in the same job, right? So then later I saw him on Facebook about maybe, I don't know, 5 years ago. Saw him on Facebook and I sent him a 2-word DM, Google me. And then he blocked me. And then he blocked me after that.
Hey. Well, that is sweet revenge. Because let's talk about Googling you, right? And hopefully you all have Googled Mahisha. She has an amazing background. You've been on lot of, just had a lot of visibility. You've been on OWN, correct?
Right.
Okay, so we're gonna get into all of that. But again, Google Mahisha, okay? So your first business, curls.
Yes.
What drove you? Kind of connect the dots here from leaving corporate into starting curls.
Awesome. Yeah. So I was at Intel and Kiana, my oldest, was little, and I was looking for products for us that was organic. I didn't want, the pink lotion. I didn't want the jam. I didn't want the, Jerry Curl juice. I didn't want the Hawaiian Silky. I wanted something I can use that would be great for both of us. And that's how the journey started. Now that was 2002. So different day and age, right? Right now you can find almost anything. So I started the process by getting a cosmetic chemist and doing as I was at Intel after Lyle McCarthy left, and that was after that shakeup. I started the process while I was there. So I hired a cosmetic chemist, started the formulation process. And that was about 9 months of testing back and forth, and I launched with 4 products. As I was doing that, the formulation R&D, I was working on the logo at the same time, the website at the same time, the marketing plan at the same time, the business plan, all those things as I was doing the R&D. And then we launched April 8th, 2002, and I got like all of 8 orders. I was like, woohoo! I got 8 orders. And we started with 4 products, and then we added 4 more. So 4 more for kids because I had my daughter, and that's kind of the journey. It really was an awakening and a fire put in me after dealing with that situation with Lyle.
That makes sense. But that's a huge jump right there from corporate to entrepreneur. Did you have an entrepreneurial vision while you were like earlier on?
I No, I didn't actually. I mean, I thought for a long time I was going to be an attorney. And then I got really heavily into marketing, but no, I didn't think about entrepreneurship, honestly. I never had a role model example, a path of that. Where I came from, most of the girls were pregnant by 15 and most of their brothers and see the age of 18. So, and there were single parent homes, and the crack epidemic wiped through our community, of course. And I was dead smack in the middle of that. My brother was a Meadowview Blood. Our house got shot up because of his antics, and just, it was a lot that was around me. So, no examples of that. My example I did have that I studied was the Cosby Show. And I said, I want to replicate that. I want like a lot of kids, a successful family, and freedom to not worry about money and to just have a great Black excellent life. That's what I wanted. So that's why I wanted to be an attorney. I
Right.
was modeling Claire Huxtable.
Awesome. I actually wanted to be an attorney too. And here I am, a marketer.
Yeah.
Look how we ended up. So how did you know it was the right idea though? Talk a little bit more about, I mean, again, hair care at that time makes sense, right? You have a
Right.
daughter with luxurious hair. But how did you know it was, what was the affirmations? What were the things that let you know you're on the right track?
Okay, great question. Because anyone that I mentor, I always say this. Number one, do your due diligence. No matter what, if it's a product or service based industry, you have to know there's a market for it. So that was my affirmation. My affirmation came from doing my studies and seeing that more and more Black women were going away from relaxers. They were looking to transition to natural and looking for products. So we launched on the cusp of that movement, going back to natural. And that was all information based. So anyone starting a brand, a company, no matter what type, you need to do your due diligence because otherwise, and also a big thing is your business plan and your marketing plan. You can't, I mean, you have a great idea, great product, great service, but if you don't have a plan, a roadmap to how you're going to get there to success, then the chances are going to be even greater that you won't.
So is there anything you took from, I imagine a lot, but what's the one key thing you took from corporate that you
Mm.
applied to your first venture?
I will say, despite what I did went through with Mr. McCarthy, that Intel was a firm breeding ground on discipline, success, producing results, planning, being structured. Because you couldn't, like, Intel was like New York. If you make it there, you can make it anywhere. It was really difficult and challenging and competitive. So I had a lot of firm foundational structure around how to be successful and how to execute. Because think about it, they were just executing product after product, and the planning process of it, the back end of it. Yeah. So I learned a lot at Intel.
Awesome. Now, before we move on from curls, 'cause we got a lot more to talk about. Can you recall a pivotal moment that could have broken you as a new entrepreneur?
New or, I mean, I've had
Maybe
well,
back then. 'Cause we're gonna catch up soon to where you are today, but any moment back then that, especially as a newer entrepreneur, that could have broken you.
well, I did have one, and I wasn't quote unquote so new, but it was really devastating. I had about a $10 million loss that was because I didn't follow my normal protocol. I went away from how I typically launch and show up in business. So typically, what happened, like, you have a collection or new products, you pitch them to the buyer. The buyer decides if they want to take them or not, and they decide how wide, how deep they go. All the stores, or a few hundred, or all 10 of your items in collection, or two, whatever they decide. But we had such a great track record that we're performing collection after collection that I launched. They were ready for two new collections from us. They were like, we want you to bring more newness. We know we want more newness now, quick. So I launched two collections before doing my normal process of launching, which was launch, sell online for a year, then go into retail. You see what the top sellers are, you make some pivots before you go into retail, make sure all of them are strong sellers, and then you go into retail. Well, they were rushing us for more, 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 and it had a wide distribution of two collections that wind up tanking. And that was to the tune of $10 million. So if you have a product and you want to go into retail, and you go into retail and does not succeed and does not perform, unit per store per week, year over year, month over month, week over week, day after day, you can lose the shelf space. And with that comes a nice bill. And so that was probably the hardest moment in my entrepreneur journey. It was not, I don't know if it was so much the money, but I think it was the second guessing. Well, can I replicate the success I had? Is it over now? And of course, we went on to it to have more success, but it was one of those soul searching moments of, wait, is this it? Or, what's wrong? What happened? Did I lose my audience? Oh, it was a horrible time.
And you mentioned you're somewhat of a first mover in the space. How did you respond to competition coming into play?
Well, yeah, we unfortunately we were pitted against each other. It was only a handful of us at the time. So mixed chicks and curls were pitted against each other. Miss Jess's with Kinky Curly. I mean, Shay Moy. It was just a lot of, unfortunately, not sisterhood like behavior. But what I chose to do was be friends with everyone, because I felt that, like, we still have each other's numbers, that we can collaborate. And if we work together, we can move the needle with those people behind the desk that aren't us. So then we wind up formulating like a union together after we kind of everyone figured that out. And then we started working well together. But at first it wasn't easy. It was like a dysfunctional sorority. I mean, just transparently. But it wind up working out where everyone realized we need each other, because they are making decisions for us as a whole in a community that we're servicing, and they need our products. So let's join together and be a powerhouse.
Yeah.
And that wind up shifting.
Yeah, and I see that in the spirits alcohol industry as well, for sure. You're pitted against each other oftentimes, put
Yeah,
together. Um, you recently sold the business.
I did.
What led to that decision?
Oh, wow. Great question. Okay. I didn't have a lot of work-life balance. Number one, the industry, it became, it's a lot. Beauty is a lot. Okay. Beauty's a lot, but the space is a lot too. It's very demanding. And I was really tired. Um, and I felt like I could no longer deliver what I wanted to, and the space had changed so much. And I felt like it was time for me to just put that down, take a breath, And you should have an exit plan. It's not a problem. I think we get caught up in the fact when we sell, well, they sold out. It's a problem. Every business should go in with their business plan with also an exit plan. You should have a plan, whether that means it's exiting and giving that and moving on to your children, or if it's selling. What is your exit plan? I didn't start with one, but I did at some point midway realize it's about time. And the funny part is I thought, okay, now I'm gonna, do nothing. And I traveled for like 6 months, got bored, and then got back to it,
Yep. Yep.
but at a different capacity on my terms.
Question, who has an exit plan? Okay, I guess we got to work on that, right? And again, it could be with your legacy.
Uh-huh.
We talked about earlier. Yeah, there's plenty of outlets, right? But we should be thinking through that. I think that's a great point. So, how did you navigate success, business and personal? Because it sounds like you've had a breaking point or a tension point. Um, how do you define that? And has that evolved?
How did I manage success, or how do I?
How do you define success as you balance your personal and your professional endeavors?
I think true success comes when you are happy. And I think I was no longer happy because it was just too much. It was a lot, right? And when we got to where we were, the amount of pressure on the brands to continue to be what we were, right? And it was, we're in a top. So it was the pressure that at this point, I'm like, I want now to kind of enjoy the fruits of my labor. So now success looks like freedom, but also doing business on my terms. Now, I got to that space. Now I couldn't have had that reality earlier because you grind to do that to get there. But today, that's what it looks like: freedom to have do business on my terms, and to not have to live in that same pressure cooker, because it's not. You see all the glitz and the glam on social media of entrepreneurship, and people glorify it, but they rarely tell you the truth. So that's why, like I said, when we talked, let's talk about the other stuff, like the stuff that people don't want to talk about. And I'm always transparent about that, like the real behind the scenes grinding. And we don't talk about the um self-confidence that you can lose from it, especially every month you get your sales reports and you're up and you're down. If you're good, you're bad. I mean, you have to really be whole not to take those things personally. And one of my sisters in Miss Jessie's committed suicide. That was many years ago, right? But the journey is a lot. And I think people need to see the other side of it.
Yeah. Because you're very public facing. Again, you've been on a lot of different outlets. Can you talk a little bit about that? In particular, Mind Your Business with Mahisha?
Oh yeah, that was amazing. So that was a show. Oprah wanted to help Black businesses. She saw that the numbers show that Black female entrepreneurs on the rise, like up 300% back then, but only like 4% will see the $1 million mark, get to the $1 million mark. So she was hoping to bridge the gap, right? And so we had like 9 different businesses on, and it was phenomenal. And every week was a different business. And we gave them different resources, different, tools, different coaching, all the things, connections. And yeah, so that was great. I really enjoyed that. That's the kind of TV I like to do.
Yeah. Now, for those in the audience who may have businesses, service, or products, what I've found in consulting is a lot of people try to stay hidden a little bit
Mm.
for various reasons, frankly. But you're more public facing. How much do you weigh your personal brand on your success? Like, how much did that help? Like,
Well, I'm not really that public. I only have like, I don't know, 90,000 followers. That's not really public.
we're everywhere, ma'am. You were
That's
everywhere.
like, okay, when you think of, that's not a lot. Like, that's not like I'm really like, I'm not Oprah. I'm not, I don't know, an influencer that has like, millions.
Yes.
But I'm public in the sense I speak at a lot of places, right?
Influential.
Okay. So you're asking, how do I manage?
I guess if you give some guidance to those who may be worrying about being more public facing as it relates to their brand.
I think that if you have a brand in today's day and age and social media, you should definitely maximize the platforms that are available for you. Does that mean you have to be an influencer and make it take over your life? No, but I think you infuse it in your day-to-day life, show your products, share it with your audience, and find a way to be socially relevant. I mean, it can only help, right? And I think it's important. So figure out that piece. There's a balance. I understand,
Yeah.
especially when you have families and kids and things. I mean, you don't live to post every day. Like a lot of times if you see my posts, if I'm out with friends, I probably borrowed and stole their content.
Yes.
I've sold some of Dana's content. Yeah, so I still a lot of content if I'm out socially. Now, for the business stuff, then I'm intentional making my team feed me stuff so I can share it. Or they'll tell me, Mahisha, I need a video today. So Kiana's supposed to be recording right now. I'm not sure if she is.
She working. So and while we got all eyes on her, let's talk about your new baby.
Yeah, Huzzy Smart Sips. So
The
why?
why. Yep. Tell me the
Thank you. I
why.
know we talked about this and I have to pepper. Okay, so I sold curls. And in that process, I think I lost a bit of myself, a lot, because it was like giving, almost like putting a kid up for adoption, right? And then you're walking away and you're saying goodbye, but you don't really, you said you wanted to, but then I don't know, you don't know if you really want to. That was kind of what I was going through when I sold curls. And I personally leaned too heavily as I was going through that depressive mode. One thing we don't talk about when we sell, because if you guys set yourself up to sell later, as you should, there's a piece of detachment where you're detaching yourself from it that makes it's a ripping away, a separation that doesn't feel so good. Even though you thought, oh, I was going to be happy, there's some counseling should happen that I didn't do. Anyway, I leaned too heavily into alcohol, self medicating. And as I got out of that process, I realized I wanted to create something that would be good for me. I didn't want the alcohol. I wanted something I can take that would be good for my liver, good for my gut, low carb, low cal, vegan, gluten free, non GMO, but give me a relaxed feeling without alcohol. So the Huzzy Smart Sips has nootropics and adaptogens, and we have one for everyone back there with Kiana. Nootropics and adaptogens. We see someone happy. Okay. Okay. Already drinking. Awesome. Already. Okay. So we have the Berry Banger Margarita and the Spill the Tea Long Island. So all of these smart sips, and I'll tell you the origin by the name after I share the product. They're formulated with nootropics and adaptogens, which are considered smart drugs that are natural mood enhancers. And they're also good for your cognitive development, also good for relaxation, stress, anxiety. And it gives you kind of a calm. And we added liver protection ingredients and gut health because if you're abstaining from alcohol or just modifying or sober curious January, whatever you are in your journey, or just going to take a break, your gut and your liver, they're both impacted when you drink. So we're repairing it and protecting it with Huzzy Smart Sips. And we have 6 flavors based on original cocktails that you can get at a bar. We have our honey pop lemon drop, which is like a lemon drop, right? But again, low carb, low cal. They're not super sweet. They're not those super cute little mocktails you get with the umbrella and glitter. No, this is a functional non-alcoholic cocktail. And they have also goodness for you for vegan, gluten-free, non-GMO. Now we have Berry Banger Margarita, which is our number one seller. We have Spill the Tea Long Island with us. And if for the men usually love the stronger flavors. My husband prefers the Golden Elixir Whiskey Fixer. That's our whiskey sour. We also have a Siesta Sip Sangria, Pawa Moscow Mule. So we have 6 flavors. And we're actually coming out with a shot, which will be just the functionals alone, just the boost of the functionals with nothing else.
But I love that you have been the inspiration for your businesses.
Yes.
Which I think is amazing, by the way. Which is why you can, just clearly talk about it and the passion, the purpose behind it, which is, I think, a lesson for many of us. Like, what is our inspiration behind our business? But for the entrepreneurs in the room, and something that I coach often on is who is your target consumer?
For Hussy or curls? Okay. So Hussy, we have, which is interesting, we have several slices because we're talking to the mother who's stressed out and she's 35 to 50 and she needs a relaxer. We're talking to the girls that are coming out of college. She's done with the drinking, but now she's relaxing her drinking. That slice of our personas are actually drinking less and less, even less than us, because they're more cognizant and aware of their health. Then we have the gym rats that want that nootropic and adaptogen drink. So we have the slivers and we understand what they look like. And so we're kind of slicing them out and then targeting them individually versus one group.
That makes sense. And does, again, entrepreneurs in the room, who knows their target audience as clearly as she defined? Okay, we got to work on knowing your target audience. Audiences.
Agreed.
You were going to mention the inspiration for the name. We never got to
Oh
that.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So I get that a lot. And so we want to make sure it doesn't you don't forget it. It's going to be on your tongue. So just like we're redefining what a cocktail is, hussy is being redefined, the word itself. We've been known, our parents, our grandmas call someone a hussy. It means a woman of low approach, right? And low moral value. But we're changing that to mean a woman that's strong and taking charge of her life and her health. And so redefining alcohol cocktails by changing them, and we're redefining the word hussy.
Any hussies in the room? That was a test.
Strong, ambitious women taking charge of their life and their health.
Own it. All right. Well, we're going to open up for questions. I hope you guys are ready. I mean, I can go on and on, but this is for you. Let's talk a little bit more around, well, actually, a question for you.
Mhm.
As we talked about success and defining success, what does success look like for you for Huzzy?
Oh, yeah. Well, interesting. Like we launched in June of this year, and we're at Amazon and HussySmartSips.com. Oh, please, everyone, take out and follow us. Everyone gets a can, but follow Drink Hussy. And you'll get your can back there with
Take a
Kiana.
picture and tag.
Yes,
Yes,
please.
yes, yes.
So for us, we launched in June, right? Did our first trade show. We already, Walmart wants us for next year. Well, I mean, that's quick, less than 6 months of launching Sprouts. And then we're talking to Whole Foods and we're also talking to Target. So I kind of going to scale back a little bit because I don't want to go so crazy in retail because I want to take it to my approach. But for me, it's really making the right product and getting it to the right audience and making sure that for success, it looks like delivering a product that's creating a space or filling a need in a white space. And that's what we're doing. If you buy a functional cocktail, which there's some out there, a lot of them out there, we're the only ones talking about liver and gut protection that have it in our products. So we are, again, it's like curls, bringing that difference and that success to be different, to get the attention of these buyers and to have success and options. I want options to where I go. So that's the beautiful thing that we're experiencing now is the options of where I want to place it.
And was there any key lesson you took away from curls that you're applying to Huzzy?
Well, absolutely. I'm never going to have that $10 million loss again. I'm going to follow my normal path of launching. So that's why I'm taking it slow with retail, deciding when I go into those rooms and you say, Walmart, we want it for next year. Okay. Because if you go into retail and it doesn't perform, the exit out is where the cost is, right? So as I'm going into these rooms, the questions and the negotiations and the agreements are that if it doesn't perform at a certain like store per week that you have a benchmark, that there aren't markdowns, that you own this inventory and that you're going to support it by sharing it and having a dedicated page, that you're going to promote it on your page, that you can actually put some money for an end cap, that we can be on several in a year, like going with those requests because now if you want me, then I'm going to demand more from you to have the brand.
Amen to that. So again, for the serial entrepreneur, please take the lessons, debrief. We don't debrief enough, but just debrief, what went wrong, what went right, and how do we apply that to our next venture. Now, again, I think you're being very humble because again, she is everywhere. You have a book.
Yeah. Well, that was years ago.
Okay, but still,
Yeah.
still. Against all odds, from the projects to the penthouse. What was the inspiration behind that book?
So my personality has always been transparent. Just be transparent. That's been me. That's if you follow my Instagram, you'll see that you just get it all, right? And so I wanted to speak to young Black women and young Black girls to share my story because I just gave you a sliver. But if you read my book, you're like, oh my God, well, how did you get out of that? Sane. Um, it was a journey to share. If I can do it, so can you. Because look at every single odd that was stacked against me. I mean, every single one. If I had a baby the age I had of her, I should have been, according to statistics, a single mother with multiple kids, multiple baby daddies, probably on welfare. Where I came from, what I've been through, the lack of things I didn't have, I'm not supposed to be where I am today. So the goal was to write it, not to be it would have been a great New York Times bestseller, but I wasn't. It was really to be an example. That's what it was for. And to read through that and to get at the end of it, wow, I can do it too then.
Let's get that book as well. Amazon.
Amazon, yes.
Okay. And then let's talk about the Black Women Making Millions Academy. Tell us more about that.
Well, after the show wrapped on OWN, I had a lot of people asking for one-on-one mentoring, which obviously I couldn't do one-on-ones for in the masses, right? For the masses. So I decided to create a nonprofit that would do that. And so I created Black Women Making Millions Academy. And we had our first in person event right after the show wrapped. It was like 3 days. And we amazing breakout sessions based on different tracks where you are in your journey. Startup, brand new entrepreneur, come up, entrepreneur looking to create success and scale, and blow up the entrepreneur that needed to get funding. So we had banks there, we had different sessions, conferences, workshops, breakout sessions, evening events, morning meditation and prayer and workout. It was phenomenal. Tickets sold out in 30 minutes. We sold out in 30 minutes. And then we went from that to the COVID happened. Then we did virtual for a long time. Then we did some regional stuff, and then we had another one. Kind of was it last year, or the year before that, in person, in Atlanta. So now that I am transitioning out of curls 100% and like taking my breath and breathing deeper and pausing, we're gonna bring that in person back because it was really good. It was really good.
Where you hosting that?
Well, that was in California last time. It was beautiful. People came from all over. So we'll probably do one here. And I'm thinking about doing a smaller one. I have a lake house about an hour and a half from Dallas that we're thinking of doing a retreat there in a smaller format to start.
Awesome. Sign me up. All right, you guys are getting ready for your questions? All right, one lasting question for me at least. Um, Again, you mentioned, I mean, serial entrepreneur, you've come from corporate, you have a lot of ventures that you've tapped into. How should an audience think about ventures like that and balancing that with, or focusing, I should say, because it's easy to get caught up in a lot of different things.
Right.
You have a family, you have businesses, ventures.
Uh-huh.
What guidance would you give to this
Well,
crowd?
so I mean, listen, 80% of businesses, I don't want to sound like a Debbie Downer, they fail, right? So how do you be that 20%? And the first thing I say is to plan everything out. I don't know if I'm answering your question, but I have a lot of input. I say this over and over again. When I mentor people, I see probably 9 out of 10 don't have a business plan. I said that earlier, but I'm saying it again because it's super important. How many have a business plan? Okay. So score.org is great. I went there before I launched Curls. They have free classes where you actually show you how to write business plans. They're free every weekend. They have campuses in every major city. And so you need your roadmap. You can't start without it. It is your roadmap to success. Failing to plan is planning to fail. You want to be the 20%. Number two, have a marketing plan. I understand that you don't, maybe people haven't gone to school for marketing like we did, but if you don't know, also score, and also you can get someone to help. One thing I always suggest, what I did also early on, I partnered with a local university and got a marketing intern that was a senior in school, ready to graduate. They have to have projects at the end of their year. I remember because I was one and we had to help a real business. You can get them as interns for a whole year and they can help you with marketing. And then I know you spoke to earlier about the fiscal responsibility of knowing your numbers. That's going to be key. It's scary. We don't know it. We don't know some things we don't know. Like we're maybe not comfortable with the accounting piece or knowing the numbers and knowing everything about the data management. But that's the only way you're not going to get taken. You have to know your numbers. You have to plan to, for example, if you don't know how much your profit is per product, you can sell a million units, but still be broke because say it costs $1 to make and you sell it for $1.05, and or even say you sell it for $1 and it took 75 cents. Is 25 cents enough after all the costs? No, you have to know every single line item. Can I afford to sell it to Target? Can I afford to sell it to a distributor? Can afford to sell it as a wholesaler? Where are my break points? And so those are things that we entrepreneurs need to be better at. Okay. So it's the knowing your numbers, being great with your planning, having your marketing, and having your, I would say, your sphere of influence, having a mentor. I know that's everyone says that, but find someone that can sow into you. And I know that's kind of hard to do. I did also, because I was bopping around. I lived from California, but I wasn't plugged in to the business. So I went to SCORE and got someone who was phenomenal. I will never forget Vinky. SCORE, they're an organization of retired executives and they come from all these different industries. So they're retired and they're volunteering. So Vinky was my mentor and he retired from L'Oreal. And so he had so much insight for me and like gave me bottling companies to save on my bottles. And so you need that kind of resource. And if you don't have an in, go to Score.
That's great advice. And what I would take from that also is before we start going into different ventures or other things that could distract us, hyper focus.
Okay.
Get your ducks in order.
Yes,
Yes.
because and there was another part. So focusing, finding, making sure you have the right business though. Okay. So I know people sometimes look at just making money, but do you have a passion for what you're doing? You know, make sure that you have the knowledge bank needed and that you have the passion for it and there's a business need for it. And then focus on it and don't look at the money alone. Look at can I excel and be different and be better and bring something to the market that's going to, really perform. And don't try to do 10 million things at once. That's one thing I want to say. Like 10 businesses. Come on. How are you spending your time? One business will take the life out of you if you're doing it right, right? So kind of try to, and I don't mean not having multiple streams because I have real estate, I have other business, I have so real estate, that that's bringing money, investments that's bringing money, business that's bringing money, diversify, and those portfolios are diversified. But if you were going to focus on trying to build generational wealth, you're gonna have to go hard until you can have enough people to manage, and then you can go do something else.
Awesome. All right. Questions. And is there a mic out there? No. Well, I can give up mine. You don't need it. I have one for each of you. Oh. So what age were at IBM when you kind of made that decision to make that move? You had that.
Until
Intel.
until yeah. What was I?
Spoke about specifically that having a market strategy for those of us who are entrepreneurs in the room. And then to Cherice, part of that marketing strategy question. One time, Cherice is my mentor. Oh, good. So have a mentor, that's my mentor. Cherice, at one point you had mentioned from a marketing strategy, it doesn't make sense to have two different pages. You said you used a specific term as you were mentioning posting daily. And you had said something about not having two different pages, to have one page, not one for business and not one for all this. Let's chunk that question out because that was first step for Mahisha. Yeah.
Oh, I think I was 27, 8, 27, 28.
And then when you spoke about like marketing strategy. Yeah. Obviously don't have that right. Those of us who don't have anything, we're not even at the point of getting the marketing.
Well, I think if do you have a business structure already in place? Okay. So you have your legalities together, right? So you can get an intern because you can. I mean, as long as you have your business structure, right? And now, given COVID, they don't have to come to an office; they can work remotely. You just have to go to the School of Business, show your paperwork of who you are, and so you're legitimate, and you can get a business intern. Absolutely, marketing intern. I still suggest that to everyone because they're going to bring that knowledge that you don't have about marketing, and it's a project for them. They get graded. No, no, nope, not at all.
And I think I'm catching on to your second half of the question. Um, I find that oftentimes entrepreneurs believe that they are their target audience sometimes. And you just happen to be your target audience, actually. That worked out. But when it comes down to like, this is very tactical, but when it comes down to like your social pages, you really need to understand who your target is. Because oftentimes people want to take their personal page and flip it into their business page. And that's where I think you and I have discussed, yes, it's annoying to build a new page, but your business is focused on your target audience. Your personal is focused on whatever target audience that is, right? Your friends or your family. So again, very tactically, I think it's getting things in order, knowing your target audience, having your business plan, your marketing plan before you start getting into the tactics of, oh, I need a Facebook, I need an IG. Because oftentimes people jump straight to that with no plan. So yeah, I think that helped.
And definitely separate the two for sure. And you can have a spillover and speak about your brand, but
Correct.
clean up the page. Clean the page up. If you had some questionable, like get it where it's people want to get to know the brand owners too. So, showing a little bit of your life is great, but just make sure it's, cleaned up. I think we have one over here. Gentleman in the blue. Yeah. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Oh yeah.
You guys hear the question?
How did I go about choosing and selecting my executive leadership team? And I think from a perspective of finance, marketing, accounting, and rounding it out. And then what was the other part? Minority based. Yeah. Okay. So Curls is all Black women. All. I mean, the warehouse had we had like, Caucasian and Mexican and whatever else, but the leadership team was all Black women.
That was intentional.
Yeah, well, first, yes. And yes. For some reason, we had a hard time with the white ladies. They had a hard time being in that space. Like I would hire like the best candidate and they wouldn't last. And it wasn't because they weren't good. It was like they were challenged in this space with all these strong Black women. It was always a problem.
Could they connect to the purpose and the why? Because I think, and this is just even for corporate
Yeah.
employees, you need to connect to your organization's
Right.
values and the
Yes.
why. And if you don't, it's a
Yes.
misfit. And I think
Right.
that's where a lot of us run into some bumps, right? So I just wonder, hypothesis,
Yes.
were they connected to the why?
Well, everyone could say, but you see it true when it comes out. But I think they were great performers in what they did. But when it came with the culture was so much at Curls that it just you felt like an outsider. And I was like, well, look how it feels to be on the other side. And you gotta, run and act the fool. Okay. So and it wind up just coming back, and I kept being fair, like interviewing everyone, and but it just they wouldn't last, they wouldn't stick. Something would happen. Yeah. So to your question, um, we the way we started, Curls grew. It was small, and then we ramped up so quickly that a lot of people were promoted within before we even had a time to round all those roles out. So then I had to get like my mentor Eric Brown, who is guys know Cormac Cottrell. Coma Cottrell. He founded Proline, one of the original legacy brand black hair care companies. So Eric Brown is his son-in-law. So Eric and Renee Brown is his daughter, Coma Cottrell's daughter, right? So they both work for Proline. They both were under Comer's leadership, and they're my mentors. So I get a lot from them where they're actually in my leadership, right? And they're my role models, and they get me people that I needed for my teams. And I still call Eric to this day and Renee. So I guess tapping into that was important. But starting off, it was really, in my garage, and then boom, we're in Target, and then boom, we need a lot of people. So it was a fast paced situation that happened quicker. It was not like in 1 year. We were underground, I would say, for about 6 years, meaning 100%.com. And then when Target met with us and gave us that chance, that's when everything sped up. And so we had to really build a team quickly. So it was kind of getting rounded out, and people kind of coming along that showed that they were in for the culture, that they were dedicated to the vision, but they actually were amiable and had the knowledge bank, but maybe not the training all the way. They didn't have all the years. So like for example, Janelle, she's still my right, she was my right hand. She came in one position, wind up leading and leaving as the executive, but she had the corporate education, but she started lower, but she escalated up. Same with the Stephanie. And then Kiana started working with me when she was in middle school, and she wound up leaving director over influencer management and celebrity relationships. So, we did a lot of cultivating within and a lot of young energy and all Black women.
What else? We got time for maybe another question? Y'all want a drink?
Oh, one
Huzzy.
more there in a yellow. Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh my gosh, yeah. So, okay, first we start with the basic four. So we had a hydrating shampoo, a deep conditioner, a curl refresher, and a curl lotion. I mean, real basic, right? The basic starter pack. And we had the same for kids. So absolutely, all the friends, all the family. We had, and we launched on naturallycurly.com. I don't know if you guys remember that website when it was the place that everyone was talking every day about hair. That's where we launched, and we had a focus group that we had there, and we had a group of 100, and they were always getting samples out. And that's where we launched. So kind of went from there. But we were constantly going where they were, and we did had a lot of testing. That's how we got our input back. Yeah. And Kiana, yeah, my daughter, I mean, her head was testing ground. See all that hair? I mean, that's real. That's not a wig. And I mean, she has so much of it. So she was constantly like, she didn't know it, but it was on her first. Me and her.
Any lasting words you want to give this audience?
I would say, you know what? We are the fastest growing segment of entrepreneurs. So whether this is going to be your number one little side hustle or main hustle, have a hustle, because the way things are moving, you don't know when you'll need that side hustle, and maybe it'll become your main. So look for opportunities to have multiple streams of income, meaning if you have a corporate job and another side hustle. I highly recommend that. You see how things are moving and shaking. And we need to protect ourselves. And we are available. There are more resources now for you than it was when I started, meaning lines of credit, business loans, investors. It's cachet to be Black now. Go figure. They are looking to be, to be in partnership with Black brands, because they want to have that on their roster. But what I will say is, when you're ready to do a partnership and sell, court them for a while. Okay. Um, when you sell your business, it's like a marriage. And you may court this person, and this man may courting you, and then they're nice, right? They're all good, and oh, I love you. Oh, I'm, dashing you with flowers and all the things, taking you to dinners and travel here and there. And then you say, I do. And then you see a beast. That can happen. Okay. So court them and make sure you do due diligence on who you're going to bed with. Because whoever you sell to or partner with is like your husband or your wife. And take that like that seriously.
Amen.
That's it.
All right. Well, thank you all.
Thank you. Oh, so please go to Huzzy Smart Sips, please, from Kiana. We have the Berry Banger Margarita, the number one seller. Flip before you sip to activate those adaptogens and nootropics, and follow us and say you saw us here. Okay. Thank you guys.
Testimonial, Daryl, you had a testimonial?
Oh, thank you. Okay. So, Daryl, we need you to go say that to Kiana.
Yeah, get that on
Can you
tape.
get on camera? I need a few of those.
You need a marketing manager.
I know, right?